Hey guys, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am helping announce the Indie Accords Readathon. So this is a readathon that will be happening through the entire month of July, the 1st through the 31st, and it is hosted and created by Lana from Lore and Lullabies. I am super excited to be joining her in this readathon as one of the team captains. We actually have 4 different teams that you can choose to join. I will be doing Team Romance. Lena from Sufficiently Advanced Lena will be Team Sci-Fi Fantasy. Leslie from The Nerdy Narrative is Team Horror, Mystery, and Thriller. And Mel from A Book Fiend Named Mel is going to be Team Historical Fiction, Contemporary, and Literary. I will leave all of the channel links and information down below for all of these lovely ladies, as well as the Twitter account for the Indie Accords, and I think there's also a Discord, and there's a blog post from Lana herself, and all of that kind of stuff will be down in the description, but please definitely go check out all of the other team captains and our lovely host. So one thing that I am super excited for with this readathon is it is focused on reading indie books. What this means is you are allowed to read anything that is self-published, boutique published, indie published, and basically anything that you can find on Goodreads will count. Short stories, novellas, graphic novels, comics, audiobooks, all of this stuff has the potential to be indie published, and so you can read anything that falls into those categories. Now, because we do have teams for the readathon, we are going to have points for the books that you read, and there will be a couple prizes as well to incentivize you, although I'm just super excited to be participating. So the prizes are being provided by Lana herself, and what we do have are 2 prizes that are both a book from your book depository or Amazon wishlist account up to $30 Australian. Now, that's the fun part, but you do have to get a certain number of points and do a couple different things to be qualified for this prize. First, you do need to declare your TBR on some sort of social by June 30th, so before the readathon actually starts. And you should hashtag it as the Indie Accords Readathon and also at Indie Accords. Like I said, Indie Accords is basically on all of the social medias. I think I forgot to mention earlier, but we do have an Instagram as well. Now, you can double up on your reading prompts. However, each book or prompt that you complete is going to be worth a set number of points, and in order to qualify for the prize, you do have to reach 150 points minimum. And I will definitely go into sort of how this works a little bit better when we get to the actual prompts, but the main thing that you're going to be doing for this readathon is choosing a team. So if you decided to join my team, Team Romance, you should be focusing on romance books for your prompts. So each book that you complete for a prompt is actually going to be worth 30 points. However, if you complete a book that does not fit your team's genre, you only get 15 points for it. You can also double up on prompts for your books, like I mentioned before. However, you can only count the points once. So if you do one book for 3 different prompts, you still are only getting 30 points. So basically it just means you will not receive additional points for the extra prompts your book completes. So in order to qualify for the prize, if you are reading as many books in the genre team that you chose as possible, you only need to read a total of 5 books, complete 5 prompts. If you're getting half of the points, so let's say you are on Team Romance, but one of your books is not a romance genre book, then you're only getting 15 points. You would have to read 10 books if you're going like completely outside of the team that you're on in order to qualify for the prize. Also though, you can read books that do not fit into any prompts. So if you decide that you have finished your prompts, or if you're just reading indie books that don't fit into those prompts, you still get half points. So again, if you read outside of your genre, or if you read outside of the prompts, you are still getting points, you're just getting half points. Now, there are going to be 10 reading challenges total. We do have a bingo board here, which will have the prompts. On this bingo board, there are actually only 8 reading challenges and 1 bookish challenge, which is our center space. It's almost like a free space, but it is to leave a review of an indie book. So on Goodreads, Amazon, your bookstore that you have online reviews for. As long as you can leave a review for that book, you can check that one off. And then like I said, we do have the 8 prompts on this board. I'm gonna go over the prompts here because I've already pulled up the bingo board, and then I will tell you about the 2 extra reading challenges that we have that are not here. So these reading prompts do have like a title of what the challenge is as well as what the prompt actually means. So the first one that we have here in the upper left-hand corner, it says, do we have an accord? And this prompt is to read a book that features pirates or is set near or on the sea. The top middle prompt is Out of This World, and that is to read a dystopian. The next one, the top right, is Everything Hurts, and that is to read a book that has a middle-aged main character. Going down to the next row on the left, we have One Heart, which is to read a book with LGBTQIA+ rep. The middle is the free space that we already talked about, leave a review on an indie book. Then on the middle right-hand side, we have The Journey Unknown, and that is to read a book featuring a quest. Moving down to our last row, on the left, we have Hard Yaka. Now, I had no idea what this meant when I first saw our prompts, because this is an Australian, New Zealand slang term, and I just had no idea. But Lana is from that area, and obviously she created this. I love that we're learning new terms because I had no idea what this was. But apparently what it means is like hard work, and so this prompt is to read a book by an Australian or New Zealand author. Then in the bottom middle we have You Are Not Alone, which is to read a book with an ensemble cast or a platonic friendship. And then the very last one here is The Little Guy, which is to read an indie middle grade. I am not going to talk about my TBR yet because I have not finalized it. There will be another video that I will have up with my actual Indie Accords Readathon TBR near the end of June. However, this is a prompt that I'm really struggling with because middle grade doesn't normally have like romance or is genre classified as romance, and so I feel like this is definitely going to be a prompt that for me personally will be outside of our team genre, which is perfectly fine. You still get 15 points, but I also need to find an indie middle grade. Okay, but so those are the 8 reading challenges for our actual prompts. But like I said, there actually is a total of 10 reading challenges for this readathon, and that's because the next 2 that I'm going to talk about are group and team books. So we do have a group book for this entire readathon. It is actually coming out on July 6th, so like right after the readathon starts, and since this readathon is for the whole month, we definitely have time to read it, and it is going to be A Court of Honey and Ash by Shannon Mayer and Kelly St. Clair. Since I actually don't know too much what this book is about, I'm going to read the summary on Goodreads, and it says, orphaned, trained to fight, raised to fear the power of Underhill, secretly in love with a man who doesn't want me. I'm still just Allie, aka the half-human orphan fae, but my life is looking up for the first time. It only took me my whole 24 years. But when Underhill, the ancestral home of the fae, shatters, making it impossible for any fae to enter, I'm the only one who knows who did it. A secret that will be the death of me if I do nothing. A brutal madness spreads through the fae as they lose their connection to Underhill, and to save my people, my only choice is to leave all I have fought for and go on the run. Unless I figure out how the hell magic that has existed since the dawn of time was destroyed with a single touch, well, an entire life spent fighting to prove myself isn't going to mean anything at all. I must find the answer to the riddle of Underhill's shattering, hunted by the very man I loved once upon a time. So I'm very curious about this book. It is going to have fae and apparently like a forbidden romance or something like that. I'm actually very excited for it. And there is a dedicated room or chat, or I don't know any of the terms on Discord, but there is a place in the Discord channel for the Indie Accords that we can talk about this book. Then we do have team reads. So we have the 4 different teams for this readathon, and each team captain picked their own team read. So I'm gonna go through the other ones very quickly. I don't know much about them. But for Team Science Fiction Fantasy, Lena picked The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wong. This is going to be an adult epic Asian fantasy. I know she has read it already and absolutely loved it, and I have read this before as well, so this is definitely one to look forward to, even though I do know it is a little bit long. For Team Horror, Thriller, and Mystery, Leslie has picked The Patience of a Dead Man by Michael Clark. I actually have no idea what this book is about, but the cover is very intriguing. And then for Team Historical Fiction, Contemporary, and Literary, Mel has picked The Rain Heron by Robbie Arnott, another one that I have no idea what this is about. This is the team that I probably know the least about the books that y'all are probably going to read, because it's just not the genres I normally read. But again, the cover is very intriguing. And then last but not least, Team Romance, we are going to read Along for the Ride by Mimi Grace. So I do believe that this is going to be a self-published romance, and I'm very, very excited for it. It is going to have a road trip, and I decided I do think we need to read the summary just because I'm team romance and I want you guys to know what this book is about. It says, "This road to love may have a few speed bumps. Former hot mess Jolene Baxter is committed to doing better. It's why she offered to help her sister and brother-in-law move across the country. However, her goodwill is tested when last-minute changes, mainly her father ditching her for an all-expenses-paid vacation, forces her to make the journey with a man who is the human version of a pebble in her shoe. Jason Akana operates on lists and bitter coffee, but none of those things will help him on a 16-hour trip with the most infuriating woman. Maybe they can get along and forget their heated confrontation 5 years ago at his best friend's wedding, when pigs fly. But the addition of vehicle problems, an unplanned pit stop in a small town, and chemistry that inconveniently tags along shifts their perspectives. And once the dust settles after their trip, a tentative friendship emerges. Will these two stubborn people successfully navigate the unexpected feelings that follow close behind, or will they hit a roadblock before reaching happily ever after?" And then it does have some content warnings I absolutely love, especially with like the indie self-published books. They seem to do this more often than traditionally published, but I absolutely love when people add content warnings or trigger warnings. I personally don't really need them, but I know some people do, and so yes, A+. But one, there is a deceased parent, died long before the start of the book, and two, a verbally pushy person who is romantically interested in the heroine but is not the hero. So I, again, am very, very excited for this, and overall very, very excited for this readathon. Like I said before, I will have my TBR upcoming at the end of June. I am slowly figuring out exactly what I want to read, but I do have some ideas and I am very, very excited. Again, thank you to Lana from Lore and Lullabies for putting all of this together, and I want to preemptively thank all the rest of the team leaders because I know we're just gonna have a great time. You can pick any of us, but one thing I think I forgot to mention, you do need to register through a Google Forms before June 28th in order to be reading in the readathon and qualify for the prize. You can read without signing up for anything, without tracking your points, anything like that, if you just want to join us and have fun. But if you do want to be in the running for any of that, please check all the links down below. Like I said, I will leave everything down in the description. I will also leave all the rest of the announcements down there when they start to come out, because that is happening very, very shortly. But yes, I am super, super excited for this. I hope you guys are as well. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you would like to see more videos. I do have videos up Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I will see you then. Bye!